In the Kharkiv region, a fighter affiliated with the Ukrainian armed forces was carrying incendiary mixtures for drones in his backpack. However, Russian fighters spotted him in time and captured the arsonist. Fast and furious. A Russian drone is chasing a Ukrainian pickup truck. One of the soldiers in the vehicle fired without looking back, but was unsuccessful. A Russian Air Force helicopter destroyed a building occupied by Ukrainian forces with a guided missile. Objective verification. A Russian FPV drone was waiting in ambush on the side of the road in standby mode. Then a Ukrainian soldier on an electric bicycle appeared. What happened next happened.
Don't forget to leave your opinion about the video in the comments, subscribe, and like.
Reconnaissance units attached to the 16th Army Special Forces Brigade captured another enemy position held by the 117th Special Forces Brigade in the Krasnoarmeysk sector of the front. The operations conducted from the air and on the ground were objectively recorded. Russian missiles destroyed Ukrainian armed forces positions in and around Vovchansk. High-precision air-to-ground missiles and heavy rocket artillery are playing a significant role on the battlefield, effectively destroying enemy shelters in Vovchansk and Vilche. The enemy's temporary staging area was struck by 3 UAVs, belonging to the 6th Guards Army of the Leningrad Military District. Vovchansk direction. Three Ukrainian soldiers were walking along a road covered in nets, chatting. They thought they were safe. But when they heard the propeller of a Russian drone lying in wait, everything changed. A unit of Ukrainian special forces was captured by Russian FPV drones in the Orekhovo direction. The footage shows attacks by Russian aircraft-type UAVs and fiber-optic drones. Kharkiv, a UAV belonging to the 44th Army Corps detected and destroyed a Ukrainian shelter. Russian UAV operators destroyed a Ukrainian armed forces vehicle in the direction of Konstantinovka. Grid protections did not help the Ukrainians. Several FPV UAVs and now a Hummer are burning in the forest. Russian reconnaissance drones spotted a small group of Ukrainian soldiers hiding in the building in a state of panic. Then a drone carrying incendiary munitions set the building on fire. The Russians noticed movement in the trenches. 2 Ukrainian soldiers seemed unsure of what to do. They weren't quite sure where they were going. Then an FPV drone exploded and an artillery shell fell. Follow us on Instagram for more videos. An image released by Russian forces who captured an area in Pokrovsk. Share your thoughts in the comments. In the Dobropilya region of the Pokrovsk district in Donetsk, anti-aircraft gunners from the 1472nd Guards Motor Rifle Regiment are clearing the skies of heavy enemy UAVs, enabling Russian assault groups to advance towards the settlement. This allows Russian assault groups to move more safely in the area. FPV UAVs ambushed and destroyed a BTR-4E armored personnel carrier. The drone, in standby mode, destroyed the Ukrainian armored vehicle with a single strike. Then, while in standby mode, the same drone encountered a pickup truck. A Ukrainian robotic platform was wandering around lost in the Kharkiv region. A Russian FPV drone showed it where to go. A camouflaged shelter where Ukrainian armed forces personnel were hiding was discovered in the direction of Konstantinovka. Drone operators destroyed an enemy shelter whose entrance was covered with 2 layers of camouflage netting. 2 drones breached the entrance and the third exploded inside the shelter. Destruction of a Ukrainian armed forces bus near Krasny Lyman. A Russian FPV drone destroyed a Ukrainian shelter with a single strike. Another FPV drone captured the attack on video. Fab shells were dropped from the UMPK on the ABI of the Armed Forces of Ukraine west of the village of Alexievka, Sumy region.
Снимай до конца.
Yelka air defense drone kinetically intercepts a Ukrainian armed forces reconnaissance UAV under dense cloud cover.
Снимай.
Да,
Снял?
Да, я тоже снял, охуенно.
Заебись, красавчики!
О, крылышко падает.
Вон крылышко падает.
A fierce attack on the Ukrainian armed forces facility in Novofedorivka in Donetsk.
Выстрел!
Artillery shelling of 152mm Hyacinth B howitzers of the Russian paratroopers destroyed a cannon on the right bank of the Dnieper River in the Kherson region and a Ukrainian Armed Forces UAV control center. Just as the drone, capable of dropping Russian ammunition, was about to drop a bomb, the Ukrainian soldier raised his hands and begged for surrender. The operator did not attack. Ukraine's 141st Air Force Base was hit by an FAB-3000 airstrike. Dnepropetrovsk region. This is how a Russian FPV drone hit a vehicle with Ukrainian armed forces personnel. Sumy region. During the Russian FPV drone strikes, 120mm air cannon was destroyed, and also 2 T-64 tanks were destroyed. Russian Novgorod Prince Vandal fiber optic drone encountered 2 Ukrainian soldiers riding ATVs while conducting reconnaissance in the forest. What happened, happened. During the aerial reconnaissance, the Ukrainian forces' communication devices were destroyed. The driver and passenger of an ATV belonging to the Ukrainian armed forces attempted to cross the Volkhya River, but the vehicle got stuck on a bump and fell into the river after tipping over. At that moment, a Russian FPV drone nearby immediately took action and flew towards the target. A total of 2 drone attacks took place. The 11th Army Corps is destroying shelters near Liptsy, where Ukrainian armed forces personnel are located. Ukrainian infantrymen whose shelters came under attack immediately abandoned their positions and sought another shelter. Meanwhile, the aerial reconnaissance team was tracking the infantrymen step by step. They struck every building they entered. Drones capable of dropping munitions and FPV drones were used in the attacks. Incendiary munitions were also used. Three against 2. Russian assault troops cleared enemy trenches despite being outnumbered. Footage of the fighting near Pokrovsk. Russian soldiers urged Ukrainian troops in the shelter to surrender, but they refused. Russian soldiers then opened fire on the trench. This pickup truck is equipped with a REB system. The Ukrainian military detects the arrival of a Russian FPV drone and destroys it by firing at close range with light weapons. The Ukrainian REB system redirects the Russian FPV drone a few meters ahead. The operator sees the image with a delay and misses the target by a few meters. If the REB system had not been present, the Ukrainian soldiers firing at the Russian drone would have been pointless.
Едь!
A Ukrainian military tank parked in a wooded area after completing its mission. The tank crew was unaware they were being watched. They parked the tank quietly and camouflaged it a little. Then 2 Russian FPV drones slowly arrived at the scene and found the tank. With a few light touches, the tank was destroyed. Another case where a Ukrainian UAV landed on a Russian air defense system and directed its firepower. Ukrainian drone lands on Buk system. A Ukrainian UAV performing a bomber aircraft mission landed on a Buk launcher and traveled 15 kilometers to relay information to the operator. When Russian soldiers noticed this, the first thing they did was film it with their phones, and the UAV also filmed them. An attempt to bring down the UAV with a branch failed, and eventually the soldiers fled the vehicle, as another FPV drone appeared to be approaching. As previously noted, this is the second instance of a UAV landing on an air defense system vehicle and performing target identification. A truck carrying ammunition belonging to Ukrainian forces was detected and subsequently destroyed. Reconnaissance units then discovered a towed howitzer right next to the truck, which was also destroyed after several FPV drone attacks. Ukrainian forces on the front lines were deprived of artillery support for a period of time. Follow us on Instagram for more videos. Destruction of the Ukrainian armed forces standby UAVs. The Ukrainian armed forces typically place UAVs carrying warheads on rooftops, roadsides, and open areas in standby mode, calling them standby UAVs. These devices take off after receiving a signal from a reconnaissance UAV and strike their targets. The footage shows the destruction of such a UAV. Ukrainian forces launched a drone equipped with heavy munitions. As the drone advanced toward its target, Russian UAV operators destroyed it in mid-air. Then, paratroopers from the 56th Guards Airborne Regiment destroyed a Ukrainian armed forces towed howitzer and armored vehicles in the Sumy border region. New footage from the South Group's combat operations against a lone motorcyclist soldier advancing towards Konstantinovka. Ukrainian forces are using abandoned buildings as temporary staging areas. Russian operators attacked these buildings with fiber-optic drones equipped with heavy ordnance. An International Max Pro was parked on the side of the road with its rear door open, and as a soldier was getting inside, it was spotted by a Russian FPV drone. The drone operator wasted no time and flew directly onto the armored vehicle. Zaporizhzhia Front. Objective control of incendiary weapons and combat operations by Russian operators at the positions of the armed forces of Ukraine in the settlement of Stepnohirsk. Another 8-wheeled armored personnel carrier belonging to the Ukrainian armed forces was stopped by Russian drones with a single shot. FPV operators belonging to the Sever Group used a KVN drone to inflict fire damage on the temporary staging point of a Ukrainian armed forces mortar crew discovered during reconnaissance, and also destroyed a 120mm enemy weapon.